She expected you to lose control, to flood her inbox with long messages, to fall apart. But what she didn't expect was your silence. No reaction, no chase, no validation, just stillness. And that stillness, it hit harder than any words you could have said. Because when a man chooses silence, it's not because he's weak, it's because he's done. And that silence, it echoes in her mind, in her phone, in the life she thought you'd never walk away from. Let's talk about why your silence is her biggest regret. Section 1. The power of silence. Silence isn't empty. It's strategic. It's a signal that you've stepped off the emotional battlefield, not in surrender, but in victory. She expected chaos. She expected a man who'd spiral into emotion, flood her with explanations, and beg to be understood. That's the pattern she's used to. That's the power she thought she still had. But this time, it was different. You didn't rage. You didn't react. You didn't reach. You went silent. And in that silence, you reclaimed something priceless, your power. While most men throw their dignity into late-night texts and overthinking loops, you chose stillness. A Stoic man doesn't try to fix what walked away. He doesn't perform for someone who already decided to leave. He retreats inward. He strengthens. His silence is not emotional manipulation. It's emotional discipline. It says, I've accepted your choice. Now live with it. And that's silence. It speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. She feels it in the emptiness of her inbox, in the absence of your name under her posts, in the quiet mornings where your attention used to arrive like clockwork. That stillness becomes a mirror, and she's forced to stare into it. No drama, no closure, just a man who vanished, not in bitterness, in peace. Section 2. Control what you can, release what you can't. The Stoics weren't just wise, they were free. Free from the slavery of needing to be understood. Free from the illusion that control exists outside the self. Epictetus said, some things are up to us and some things are not. Most men suffer not because they're weak, but because they fight the uncontrollable. They replay every word, reread every message, analyze every moment as if they could edit the past. That's not reflection. That's emotional captivity. You can't force a heart to stay. You can't negotiate attraction. And you sure as hell can't drag someone back into your life without losing a piece of yourself. But you can decide what story you tell yourself. One man says, she left because I wasn't enough. Another says, she left. And that's when I became unstoppable. Same pain, different power. You control your focus, your response, your energy, everything else, her opinion, her choices, her absence, is wind in the sky. You don't fight the wind. You adjust your sail. And when she expects you to keep chasing, but instead, you redirect that energy into building, growing, and leveling up. That's when the silence becomes heavy. That's when your peace becomes power. Because nothing shakes a man who's anchored in what he can control and completely lets go of what he can't. Section 3. Attraction through absence. The world is loud, Men are loud, begging, explaining, pleading for one more chance. But the Stoic man, he becomes a ghost, not to punish her, but to protect his energy. And that absence is not silence, it's gravity. The kind that pulls at her thoughts when she opens her phone and doesn't see your name. The kind that lingers in her mind when she posts a photo and wonders why you didn't watch her story. That's the power of scarcity. When your attention disappears, she starts to feel what she took for granted. You. Human nature desires what it can't easily have. And when you were always there, you were accessible, predictable, safe. But now, you're a mystery, and mystery triggers obsession. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In this case, the best response is to become unavailable, because the man who walks away in strength, who disappears into discipline, who doesn't leave breadcrumbs or subtle signals, is the one she remembers long after the others fade. You become an echo, the what if, the maybe, the man she never got closure from because he didn't need it himself. And by the time she wonders what happened to you, you'll already be 10 steps ahead, building a life so powerful, so grounded, that even your absence leaves a legacy. Section 4. Let her sit with her choices. She made a choice, and now, for the first time, you're letting her feel it. No life raft, no emotional safety net, just space, just silence, just consequence. See, most men rush to fix what's breaking. They send that last message. They try to clear the air, but all that really does is protect her from the weight of her own decision. When you interrupt her discomfort, you interrupt her growth. And worse, you show her that your love is still available, even after she walked away from it. But a Stoic man withdraws, not to punish, but to preserve. He understands. She doesn't get to feel peace while I carry the storm. So he does the one thing that can't be spun, can't be manipulated, can't be forgotten. He vanishes. He lets her sit with the silence. He lets her scroll and find nothing. He lets her face the absence that once held warmth, presence, and devotion. And it hurts her more than any argument ever could, because regret grows in quiet rooms, and your stillness, it becomes a mirror, a reflection of what she discarded and can't get back. She won't say it out loud, but deep down, she knows. I didn't just lose a man who cared. I lost a man who would have given me the world until I taught him not to. And by then, he's not angry. He's not bitter. He's gone, replaced by someone she'll never have access to again. Not because he blocked her, but because he outgrew the version of himself that needed her. Section 5. Rebuild in silence. The greatest transformations don't happen in public. They happen in silence, where there are no eyes on you, no applause, just raw pain and discipline. Most men seek validation after heartbreak. They post their progress. They show off the gym selfies, the new girl, the new car. But a Stoic man doesn't rebuild to prove a point. He rebuilds to become a point. He retreats like a blacksmith into the heat, into the fire, where no one sees him shaping the blade, But when he emerges, he's lethal. And that new edge is not for her. It's for the battles ahead. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." And that's exactly what you're doing. You don't need to prove anything to her or anyone. Your evolution is not for social media. It's not for a reaction. It's for you. So while she posts thirst traps, hoping to trigger something, you're off the map, grinding, reflecting, elevating. And one day, she'll come across the man you've become, and it'll crush her. Not because you tried to hurt her, but because you didn't need to. The man who used to overthink her silence now walks with weight in every step, not loud, not flashy, just undeniable. Because real power doesn't announce itself. It's felt, it's noticed, and once it's there, it never chases again. Section 6. Emotion is a tool, not a master. Pain is real, but pain is not permission to lash out, not permission to collapse, and definitely not permission to regress into the man you worked so hard to outgrow. The Stoic doesn't suppress his emotions. He channels them like a river carved through stone, controlled, focused, relentless. That ache in your chest, it's the forge, and your response to it, that's the weapon. Epictetus said, "We are disturbed not by events, but by the view we take of them." You can look at this moment as a breakdown, or you can see it as a sharpening. You don't run from the fire. You walk into it like a warrior and let it burn away everything soft, reactive, and weak. Because once you learn to sit with your pain without needing it to stop, you become dangerous. That's what the world doesn't teach you. They'll tell you to move on quickly, to distract yourself. But the Stoic man knows silence is his sanctuary. He lights a single candle in the dark. He breathes through the noise, and he journals, not to vent, but to refine. That journal becomes his blueprint. That pain becomes his fuel. He doesn't chase healing. He builds it, brick by brick, set by set, day by day. And each time he feels the pull to reach out, he remembers, I don't respond from emotion. I respond from clarity. And with that discipline, he becomes untouchable. Because a man who commands his inner world can't be shaken by anything in the outer one. Section 7. No response is a response. You don't owe her anything, not a text, not a reply, not even a glance, because silence is a statement. Most people expect noise, the fight, the meltdown, the desperate plea for closure. They're conditioned to it. The emotional back and forth, the final phone call, the drama. But when you give her nothing, that's what breaks the pattern. That's what shakes her. Because silence is the one thing she can't spin. She can't argue with it. She can't control it. And most of all, she can't forget it. A Stoic man doesn't disappear to play games. He disappears because the connection is dead. He's not being petty. He's being precise. She made her choice. And your silence, it honors that choice, without protest, without performance. That's what makes it powerful. It doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, It doesn't give her another scene to star in. It ends things in the only way that can't be ignored. Stillness, finality, closure without confrontation. You've become unavailable, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And when she checks her phone and sees no response, no breadcrumb, no weak attempt at reconnection, that's when it hits. He's really gone. And that echo, it'll haunt her long after the silence begins. Section 8. Reframe the narrative. You didn't get rejected. You got redirected. At first, it feels like failure, like you weren't enough, like something must be wrong with you. But that's not truth. That's distortion. The Stoics never asked, "Why did this happen to me?" They asked, "What is this trying to teach me?" You didn't lose her. You lost the illusion that she was meant for you. And that illusion was costing you your peace, your focus, your power. She didn't break you. She revealed you. She exposed the cracks in your self-worth, the need for validation, the tendency to overgive, to stay when you should have walked. That clarity is a blessing in disguise, because now you get to rewrite the script, not the old story where you play the victim, but a new one, where you rise as the author, where heartbreak becomes the prologue, not the ending, where pain becomes a prompt, not a prison. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. So change the estimate, shift the lens. This isn't the collapse, it's the construction. And from this moment forward, you tell the story, not of a man who lost her, but of a man who found himself." Section 9. Become the man you'd respect. Stop chasing her. Start becoming him. The version of you that doesn't flinch when someone walks away. The one who doesn't beg for attention. Who doesn't seek validation. Who moves with power, even when no one is watching. Ask yourself, if you met the man you're becoming, would you respect him? Would you trust him? Would you follow his lead? Would you admire his discipline, his stillness, his presence? Or would you see a man still carrying the wounds of a woman who left? This is the moment where you stop reacting and start rising. You stop measuring your worth by her attention and start measuring it by your own code. Discipline, integrity, focus. You build in silence. You lead yourself. You walk with a presence that doesn't need to speak to be felt. She left? Good. Let her witness your absence become legend. Because the man she thought you were is gone. And what stands in his place is a man she never even deserved to know. A man who doesn't chase, doesn't prove, doesn't flinch. He chooses. And now you become him. Section 10. She'll hear the echo of your absence. You didn't block her. You didn't argue. You didn't send a goodbye text wrapped in emotion. You just left. And that silence, that stillness, it echoes louder than any words ever could. Now, every time she opens her phone, she feels what's missing. Your name, your reaction, your energy. She posts a story and scans for your name. It's not there. She tells a joke and subconsciously waits for your laugh. but you're not around. That absence, it's a void she can't fill. Because when a man truly lets go, there's no explosion, no final scene, no proof of pain, just the soft, surgical sound of a door closing forever. And here's what makes it unforgettable. You didn't need revenge. You didn't need closure. You found peace. And peace is the loudest power on earth. Now she hears your silence everywhere. In songs, in spaces, in moments she thought you'd always be in. And by the time the echo fades, you'll be unreachable. Not because you disappeared, but because you evolved into a man who doesn't chase, doesn't explain, doesn't look back, just builds, just breathes, just becomes. And when she remembers you, it won't be with power. It will be with regret. You didn't just leave. You left with dignity, with purpose, with silence that echoes forever. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more Stoic wisdom. See you in the next video.